Hello, it's Chris Wood. Today's video is to explain some of the advantages and disadvantages of pre-pack liquidations. So, just so you're aware, what a pre-pack liquidation is, it's when a new company buys the assets of an insolvent company. Generally speaking, the directors of the new company are the same directors as the old company. Okay? So, before you enter into a pre-pack, you need to give it serious thought. You need to start asking questions. Well, why did company A become insolvent? Where have the problems come? And what changes can I make to ensure that company B is successful in the future? Now, I'm just going to run through some of the advantages first. In a pre-pack liquidation, the business continues. Okay, albeit under a new guise, but the business is able to continue to trade. Ongoing work continues. And you can continue to work in the new company without the debt burden of the old company. Now, the second advantage is you start again debt-free. The new company does not have any legacy debt. It can start trading without having to pay old debts. You know, any enforcement action that you was receiving from creditors on the old company cannot be made to the new company. So if you're getting threatening creditors letters, bailiff visits, that can stop in a pre-pack liquidation. Now, this is a really important one that clients experiences. When you enter into a pre-pack liquidation and you have your new company, you can think clearer and you can start thinking about the future. When a company is in financial difficulty, it's really hard for directors to focus on anything other than the creditor pressure they're getting, the pending legal action they're getting, the bailiffs at the door, and the week-to-week cash flow problems. In a pre-pack liquidation, the business has a new start. The directors can actually focus again on business development, and giving the business a good future. You also save employees' jobs. And this is normally one of the key reasons that people enter into a pre-pack liquidation. All the employees of the old company can be transferred into the new company. Sometimes redundancies may need to be made on the old company. If this is the case and the old company is insolvent, your employees can actually make a claim for redundancy from the government. Now, another key reason, advantage of a pre-pack liquidation is your creditors, the creditors of the old company, will generally get a better return. And what I mean by that is, in a pre-pack liquidation, the new company agrees to buy the assets of the old company at a fair market value. So the money that's realised from the sale of the assets goes as a return to the creditors of the old company. Now, more often than not, a pre-pack liquidation will realise a larger return for creditors than if the insolvency practitioner was to sell assets off bit by bit. Now, some of the disadvantages of a pre-pack, you know, because it's not all rosy. The scene is controversial. You know, that company directors are trying to avoid paying the old company debts. But the fact remains, pre-packs are widely used in the UK. You know, they're governed by strict regulation. And there's lots of companies that you will know on the high street, on TV, that have used pre-packs to restructure and save the business. Now, just to drill down onto some of the disadvantages, the directors of the old company, they're still going to face a conduct report. You know, because the old company, when you've bought the assets back, will go into voluntary liquidation and an insolvency practitioner will be appointed. And a report will be put together on the director's conduct leading to or up to the point of insolvency on the old company. Now, if the director's conduct is deemed inappropriate, that they could still be open to investigation, fines and prosecution on the old company. Now, another big thing that you need to consider when entering into a pre-pack is creditors are going to be left with unpaid debts. So once the old company is placed into liquidation, it's highly likely that the creditors of that old company are still going to be left with unpaid bills. Now, even when the assets are sold and a return is given to the creditors, they could still be left being owed considerable money. So your new company may struggle to work with that supplier in the future, and they may refuse to deal with your new company altogether. So another